All right. Hey everybody, Tanner here for your tool of the week. There's no PowerPoint slide here. Going straight to the tool. Um, I've actually had two, maybe three conversations over the last couple of weeks. This certainly applies to those very close in my ecosystem that are either A, running on EOS, or B, have um, kind of gone through my Vision Day, annual planning, VTO day. And so I'm gonna actually turn this into from that, how to use that, how I use that, and then also, or organize that, I should say, and then my weekly planning. And I'm gonna repeat some of the things I've shared recently with individuals, just so I can put it out here to the group. Um, so I have adopted multiple methodologies from either EOS, some books I've read, and Strategic Coach. So it's not really like a one fits, but I am going to share this template here. If you'd like, go make a copy. And so really, once you kind of go through and create, and you look, you can, if you want to use this template and reword, rename, um, but from your 10-year, your BHAG goals, your lifetime goals, whatever you want to do. I think I've showed mine before, but um, mine has year over year become a collection point. So what I do is I populate all of it, and then at the end of the year, I'll make a copy, and then I'll kind of revise what needs to be revised. So the 10-year, then the 3-year, and then the 1 year. So if you just made new 1 year goals, and then we're well into Q2, or not well, almost halfway into Q2. So my personal rocks, company rocks, things, I would put them all here. But here's where I'm really trying to get to on the weekly planning. How do I use this? And people have asked. For me, I've tried planning Friday mornings, I've tried Saturday mornings, I've tried Sunday evenings, and look, do what's best for you. I know a lot of people that plan either Sunday mornings, afternoons. For me, Sunday evenings is the worst because I get super excited as I look to the coming week because I'm always looking at the coming week and the coming and 1 to 2 weeks out. Um, and so I get all jacked up by planning, and that's not how I want to you know be Sunday night when I kind of want to wind down and go to bed. So I do mine almost, I mean, I'd say fairly religiously. 95% of the year it's Monday morning, early, first thing. And and so while I'm doing this, I can just be putting things in motion. But so I'll kind of go through very specifically, and look, I'm happy to answer specific questions for individuals, but I kind of run through this once I have my whole VTO populated here. So my 1 year goals and my rocks. I literally open this up every Monday morning, and I go through this top to bottom. Now, a lot of this, or some of this, I should say, is like strategic coach vernacular. So it might be like, well, what does this even mean? Um, let's see if I even have mine open. Well, I'm not going to distract this video here for now, but I literally go through this. So I start with essentially what are the most important, 3 or 4 things this week, whether it's projects I have to tackle, things I need to accomplish, whatever that is. And so then I'll put them here. I don't know why this is formatted this way. I think is when I put it in. Anyways, template, make a copy. So I literally go through this. So I think of what's most important this week. Then I try and clean out, not necessarily, so like CRM, if I'm behind on a bunch of stuff, but it's more just trying to like look at where do I capture my to-dos and tasks, kick them forward. I try and look at, if I've got several collection points. You know, Historically, I've been using Google Tasks. I'm going to try, and I've used Apple Reminders in the past for things. I have a Remarkable and a little notebook. Actually, it's right here in my pocket. Where I just capture little things. So I try and go through all those things and put them somewhere. Put them so that so this is where I schedule 90 minutes to do all this, to get caught up. I look back at texts, I look back at voicemails, like what things, and then, and very specifically, I'll tell you exactly. So I have, 2 screens, and I have this pulled up on one screen and my calendar pulled up on the other screen. And so I'm looking at my calendar this, so Monday to Friday this week, and then I'll click to the next week, and sometimes even the next 2 weeks, because then the next I'm looking at the next 2 calendar weeks. And this has just been my thing. I've tried to go to lunch with someone every single day and have been doing that for 10, maybe 15 years. And so I'm looking at, okay, next week I've got Wednesday open. Okay, so who is, then who, and I've got a list of who's asked to go to lunch, and I don't have it here on the template, but like I have a parking lot, I could just add right here my lunch list. Now, I'm sure many of you are far more organized than me. You could have a lunch list in an Apple Note, you could have it in your CRM, but then I keep it there. So then when I look, oh, I've got lunch open, I've got 3 people I'm trying to go to lunch with, or have asked to go to lunch, or I've been wanting to go to lunch with. That's what this FDO COIs. If you're like me and you take screenshots of things or pictures of things that you're like, oh man, I take, I look back at my screenshots and pictures from the last week. Is there anything that I need to do? And on. And this is where I will, through going through this entire process and at least the thought exercise, I can, if there's a project I need to work on, something I need to tackle, something, I can now block it into the calendar. Let's say I need to spend 90 minutes on a specific project, deal, opportunity, whatever. I can look at my schedule and say, okay, I'm going to try and do that, or I'm going to do that at, 3 o'clock on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. And then if there are related people to that project, I can say, hey, I've got time blocked to do that. So it's also a function of managing my time. Now, certainly you're triaging throughout the week as things come up and opportunities pop up, but depending on what those things are, you can decide to prioritize and honor. Hey, I've got a meeting at that time. Can we try it another time? Okay, what else? This I won't go through each individual thing. I've added lots of things in here, but it's just going through. And to me, look, if you don't plan for a week, catch up the next week. And to me, you just kind of get right back on track. And so instead of just the tyranny of the urgent, which I've talked about recently, you're taking control. And so this is really a function of like the ideal week and VTO and this, but this is my weekly process. So um, look, if you've already got a great weekly process, great. If you've got something that's working really well, I would love to know about it. I'd love to share, would love to collaborate, but here you go. Make a copy of this if you want to use it. This is kind of the expanded, so VTO template with a weekly planner. So have an awesome week. Okay, see you.